on to Let's Talk About Opera. As you can see, I took a little break from doing videos due to traveling, but I am now here in Vienna, or as I like to call it, the Hollywood of opera. I am honored to be here with my teacher and famous soprano, Miss Cheryl Studer.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for meeting with me. I would like to start by asking you if you could define what is an opera singer.
An opera singer is a person who has decided for many different reasons that they would like to go into this very difficult line of work, which also not only consists of a kind of discipline that they have to learn, technical discipline, and learning also style and languages and various things like this, but also they want to devote their life to working with these ideas. It's really a lifetime work. It isn't that you learn to sing and you know how to sing and you repeat that for many years, but as you grow as a person, your ideas change, your body will also change, and so you're always continually developing. So it's very, very interesting, very exhilarating, actually, kind of line of work. And as I said, it's something you devote your life to.
And singing is all about the voice. How does it compare to other instruments?
Well, it actually does compare to some other instruments. I like to call the voice an air instrument. For example, like a woodwind or a brass instrument has to do with air. And that's the basis of the singing of voice. We have to learn to work with air. That has nothing to do with making airy sounds, you understand? But the air that we breathe in, how to use that in the most economical and most useful way. So it compares to these instruments, yeah.
And opera singing is an uncommon, demanding career. Does it require starting at a young age, like ballet?
Well, I think also that singing opera is not, as I said, just the voice, but there are many things that belong to that. I think that an opera singer should at one time in their life have studied ballet, for example. I think also studying other instruments is extremely useful. All of these things, for example, piano, all of these things you can do at a very young age. As a singer, probably you will sing very young, but you shouldn't really begin studying too young. I was a little bit of an exception. I started very young. I started when I was 12, and that's exceptionally young. I would say an average beginner age should be around 16 or 17, because the body hasn't developed enough. The body is the instrument, and the body hasn't developed enough before that to be able to comprehend and to be able to do certain things that the singer should do. So it's too early is not to be recommended, but at the same time it's very individual. I was someone who was mature very early, and that's why I could start early. I'll tell you a small story. My first teacher didn't want to work with me first. Well, she didn't know me, but my mother called up and she says, I have a young girl at home, my daughter, and she wants to be an opera singer, and she's so interested, and she's only 12, and this teacher right away interrupted her and said, oh, well, that's impossible, no one begins at 12. And then my mother said, well, the problem is she's so adamant about singing, and she loves it so much. I'm afraid that if she doesn't have someone working with her that's really good, this woman in our hometown had an excellent reputation, and she said, if she doesn't work with someone who's good very soon, she'll secretly go somewhere and learn some bad habits. And then the lady said, well, bring her to me and I'll at least talk to her. I'd like to hear her voice and I'll talk to her. So we went a week later. I was very sick when we went to her. I had a terrible, terrible cold, but I still sang. And she said, I'd like to begin with her having regular lessons from next week. And so I was just more mature than many of my, other schoolmates. But I wouldn't recommend it really for 95% of the other singers, okay?
So what is the best age to define the singing capabilities of a person, and so the type of repertoire?
It's also very individual. it's maybe interesting thought for you and for your listeners. All of the notes, whether this is from Handel or Mozart or from Wagner or Strauss, for example, the notes are the same notes, okay? So we commonly hear of, oh, Wagner is so difficult, or Strauss, or Puccini is so difficult, which is true, they're very difficult. In the end, everyone is difficult, even Mozart, as you probably know also already. But the demands of the later music are dangerous, or can be dangerous for a younger singer. And this is why we begin younger singers with, for example, aria antiche, and maybe early Mozart and Handel and things like this, Haydn, for example, and not immediately with Wagner. If we're intelligent teachers, I have to put that. Some teachers give their students Tosca right away, but that's obviously not a good idea. It's very individual, though. The development's also very individual. As I said, their notes are all the same, but the harmony and also the text, the way the harmony and the text work together, the later composers tend to have a more dramatic feeling. And if you're a sensitive singer, a sensitive artist, you pick up on that. And most of the young singers are sensitive to that. They have this particular kind of talent for and love for the music, and they feel the difference between a Puccini and, for example, a Mozart. And that's why they're attracted to Puccini, that's why they're attracted to these later composers. But they are dangerous because they will want, as a young singer, you will want to try to create that dramatic effect without knowing how to. You understand? So you have to begin with things that are a little bit less dangerous, a little bit less difficult, and build slowly. And then once you get to a certain point, you've built up your instrument, you know what you're doing, then you can slowly make a transfer to Verdi, etc.
Yes. And what are the most important technical aspects a singer should focus on?
Well, I already mentioned before that the voice is an air instrument. So the basic thing for the voice, we have to know how to deal with air, how to control airflow through the vocal cords. The other thing that I'm a little, it's like one of my pet peeves, as we would say, is articulation. I think articulation is so important. And we work together already, so you know how I think about that. If the articulation is economical, correct, precise, etc., and also done in a way that is how can I say, exact and not just sort of, yeah, then the air can react. The airflow and the support system with the airflow can react properly, and articulation can aid the singing and not be in the way. You know, the consonant shouldn't get in the way of the singing. Because we can't sing basically on consonants, we can only sing on vowels. I have to go back to that first of all right? So the idea of singing long vowels, short consonants, but precise and clear consonants, this is what gives a framework to the instrument and to the airflow, as I say. And these are the two very most important aspects.